Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about multiclassing, a feature that is confirmed to come to Baldur's Gate 3. I'm gonna familiarize you with some of the most important aspects of this feature, how to mix classes well, and some cool examples of combinations you could probably use when the full game releases. It is important to note that currently in early access we don't actually have multiclassing, but we know that Baldur's Gate 3 is based on 5th edition, so a lot of the common themes and aspects will be taken from the handbooks, so I will do my best to familiarize you with all of those concepts, and if something's gonna change, of course, in the game, I will come back to this topic and address it when the game actually releases. I will probably post new builds and stuff you can do with multiclassing. The general rule of thumb in 5th edition is that classes get their most powerful abilities either on level 3 or level 5. It's not always the case, but in the case of most likely Baldur's Gate 3, a lot of awesome abilities gonna be when you choose your subclass at level 3, and also a lot of features will be unlocked on level 5. For example, an extra attack for the warrior classes, fighter classes, the one that focus on melee, like Paladin, and the fighter and the ranger. So it's sometimes worth to postpone your multiclassing extravaganza until you get those extra options, but of course dipping is also very profitable sometimes, where you get some awesome proficiencies right away or some powerful abilities that we're gonna go through in this video. Just remember to include in your calculations that the level cap of Baldur's Gate 3 is 12, so don't go beyond that, and maybe don't spread yourself too thin on the classes you're gonna pick, because, well, you don't want to be the jack of all trades that are not really good in anything at all. So the first and probably most important thing that we want to look at while choosing our multiclass is our main attributes. Which two classes possibly use the same main attribute that will make our synergistic values even better? For example, a paladin uses charisma for his persuasion checks, for his smites, for his spell list, and pretty much all the other things that a paladin does except smacking things in the face. So what other class could possibly synergize well? Well, we know that a sorcerer uses charisma as well, and for example, a warlock. A warlock uses his charisma for his Eldritch Blast, which is your staple that you use throughout the game, because it's a cantrip that does plenty of damage, respectable damage, and you can modify it further, of course, with further levels, but it uses your charisma modifier, so it gives a nice option for a paladin to use at range. Of course, it is just one of many examples you could use. There is a lot of classes that synergize together. For example, the newly released subclass of Gloomstalker that was announced a couple days ago by Larian synergizes very well with another subclass that was announced, the Assassin, because they both are based on powerful first turns, a bonus to initiative, and killing your target fast. So this is another prime example of one of the strongest combinations in tabletop right now, which is the Gloomstalker with the Assassin. Of course, we'll see how it's gonna come into the game. It could be weaker, it could be even stronger. We will see when the game actually comes out. Here are some combinations that people use in tabletop while deciding on a multiclass. Of course, take it with a grain of salt, because again, in our game, it will be quite a bit different with all the custom abilities that can be homebrewed into the game. But for example, a lot of people can decide on making the Paladin Warlock with taking 6 levels of Paladin and 6 levels of Warlock, because the level cap is 12 in Baldur's Gate, and that gives us a lot of power to our smites, basically maximum damage on our smites. We can also, for example, use our Warlock slots to smite, which is also very, very powerful. Stuff like that is something you should look at while deciding on your multiclass. In 5th edition, the classes tend to be very, what it's called, front-loaded on their abilities, so you get a lot of powerful aspects of the class early on. For example, if you decide to dip into a fighter, right away you're gonna get heavy armor proficiency and access to most martial weapons. Also on level 2 you get action surge, which lets you use another action during combat. If you decide to go all the way to level 3, you're gonna have the subclass available to you and can take powerful new effects that defines your class, and if you mix it with another one, you can make a true powerhouse of a character. It is important to note that there are some prerequisites if you want to jump into another class. For example, if you want to multiclass your paladin into a warlock, you need to have a charisma score of at least 13, which you should have anyway, but there are some, of course, harder combinations that maybe you will not want to have. If you, for example, have a wizard, maybe you will not have 13 strength or dexterity, so if you want to make this Gish character, you need to have at least the strength or dexterity of 13. For a monk, you also need to have dexterity and wisdom of 13. Some classes require 12, attributes, some of them require 1. This is how it is in tabletop. We'll see if it changes in the actual game. When it comes to spellcasting, things get a little more complicated because you have to know what level of the caster you are when you multiclass, and also what spell slots you're gonna have. So it all depends on the class you take, obviously. So when you're a full caster like a wizard, you're gonna have the progress of a full caster when you multiclass with another full spellcaster, which means that you add them up and that's gonna determine your spell slots. But for example, if you're gonna mix it up with an Eldritch Knight, which is the most complicated probably, along with the Arcane Trickster, you're gonna have 1/3 of the levels. So 3 levels in that specific class gonna give you 1 more level of a spellcaster. So for example, if you're a level 3 wizard and level 3 Eldritch Knight, your total spellcaster level is 4. Things get even more interesting when you multiclass with a warlock, because warlocks has their unique school of magic called Pact Magic, which are the replenishable spells after a short rest. This is really cool because, for example, if you multiclass with a full caster, you can use those warlock spell slots to cast your full caster spells. From wizard, for example, you'll be able to cast fireballs in your expendable warlock spell list, which is just super awesome. Of course, not every multiclass has to be based around spells, and mixing and matching the spellcasting classes, you can make a very powerful build related mostly on melee. For example, a barbarian with fighter is a very popular, very strong combination that lets you rage and have all the awesome bonuses of the fighter with the action surge and other stuff. You can also do a ranger with an assassin or even just a normal rogue, which gonna gives you sneak attack dice, gonna give you better initiative, better hiding in the shadows, all the great stuff like that. To finish it all off, I'm gonna give you a couple of my favorite combinations of multiclass from the tabletop. Of course, it's subject to change in the actual game, but hopefully it's gonna give you some idea of what classes are cool to combine together. The first one we got is 3 levels of Ranger Gloomstalker, 3 levels of Rogue Assassin, and 6 levels of Fighter Battlemaster. This is a very powerful combination because you front load a lot of your damage on the first turn, because you have a lot of initiative, you're great at hiding in the shadows, and especially if you fight in Underdark or somewhere where you have actual shadows around you with no light source, you're just gonna be a force to reckon with, and you're gonna have your action surges, which you can also do on the first turn. You're usually gonna do it on first turn because you're gonna combine this powerful initiative attack of Gloomstalker with the assassin that also adds damage. Of course, sneak attack when the enemy is surprised. It just does a lot of damage, but you are a bit of a, well, maybe not a one-trick pony, but you will be able to pretty much one-shot a lot of your encounters on the first turn, assuming of course that everything will be implemented similarly to the tabletop. Next up, we get the simpler combination of 6 levels of Paladin and 6 levels of Sorcerer. This combination gives us a lot of powerful tools to use. We get a lot of magic. It's one of the most powerful Gish builds in the game, and also you get max level smites, which means that you can use your higher level spell slots for your smites, which means tons of damage every turn as long as you have your smites in your arsenal of spells. It's very fun to play, it's very powerful, and you just can feel like both a very powerful melee fighter, but also have some amazing spells to use during the game. Not only that, this character will be a great face of the party with high charisma, being able to bypass a lot of nasty conversations. Another one that I like is 9 levels in Paladin and 3 levels in Warlock. It gives you access to a very powerful Eldritch Blast ability, especially Agonizing Blast, that adds your charisma modifier to the roll of this attack. Also, level 3 gives you access to the Pact. For example, I'm hoping that Pact of the Blade will prove to be awesome, and that will make your Paladin that's gonna be very good on the front lines and also have a powerful ranged ability, and also it synergizes nicely with your smites. I wonder if they will somehow implement the Hexblade ability, which lets you add your charisma modifier to your attacks and damage, which will be just cake on the muffin, or whatever you say in English. And last but not least, we have 2 levels of the Cleric from the Tempest domain and 10 levels of Storm Sorcerer. This is a combo that's gonna be doing tons of damage because of the Cleric's level 2 ability that lets you max roll your thunder damage, and Storm Sorcerer will also have amazing synergy with thunder and lightning spells. Namely, I know that it is confirmed that the wet condition will give you double damage on your lightning spells and abilities in the game, so it just has a great damage potential, probably the highest single target, and not only with Chain Lightning, also AoE damage that you will be able to do with those abilities. It just sounds amazing on paper. We'll see how it's gonna function in the game, but I have a feeling it's gonna be one of the most broken combos in the game. Honestly, I have tons of more ideas that I would love to share with you guys, but I don't want this video to go on forever, so thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you're gonna be playing as, if you're gonna be multiclassing or maybe staying pure. I would love to hear your opinion, and also huge thank you for watching my videos, because I just started to upload recently and the reception's just been incredible to see you all gather in this place so we can together anticipate this amazing game that's about to come out. And of course we're gonna be playing for probably months. You can also catch me live on Twitch TV Kendra, where we're gonna be playing different RPGs until Baldur's Gate 3 comes out, and then when this game comes out we're just gonna delve into it, we're gonna dissect it and just enjoy it for probably months to come. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.